summer, Malta and Gozo are home to several turtle nesting sites. The most common species is the loggerhead turtle, as they are the most common species in our water. 2020 was the known record year for turtle nesting sites, with 7 recorded sites. However, this year we have bypassed that number with the 8th turtle nesting being recorded in Ramla Bay. With the latest one being in Golden Bay, we met up with Stanley Gatt from the nature team within ERA to discuss this phenomenon. What has led to the recent turtle nesting phenomenon?
Okay, so essentially there are two hypotheses related to the increase in turtle nesting in Malta. One of them is related to improved conservation measures, whereby whatever we're seeing today is the result of conservation measures that have happened during the past decades, whereby more protection was afforded to turtle nests, so that increased the survivability of the young. Another hypothesis is that related to global warming, whereby you have, since the sex of turtles is dependent on the temperature, the higher the temperature, there is more female development rather than those that develop into males. So when you get an increase in the female population, then that would lead to an increase of the female nesting population. So what we're seeing today is most probably a result of those two phenomena.
Okay, and what environmental factors have led to the increase of turtle nesting sites in Malta?
So essentially, like I mentioned before, it could be the result of global warming, whereby you have a shift towards an increase in the female population. Okay, so you have more females available to produce the nests.
Are the turtles laying eggs this season the same ones seen in previous years?
At the moment, we wouldn't know, because that would be dependent on DNA analysis, whereby you can compare the DNA that is available in the eggs with previous DNA extracted from nests of previous years. But we know for sure that according to their behavior, there's a very high probability that we have the same females nesting during the same nesting period. You have females that would be producing 2 or 3 nests during a nesting period, because it's usual for marine turtles to produce a nest, and then after an interval of about 15 days, they produce the next egg, the next nest. There's also the possibility of producing a third nest as well after an additional 15 days. So from our observations at the moment, there's a very high probability that we have same females producing various nests.
What kind of measures are being taken to implement protection on the turtle nesting sites?
So essentially, first of all, you've got environmental NGOs that are doing surveillance at the beaches during the night and early morning in order to check for possible nesting occurrences. The moment that these volunteers encounter either a nesting turtle or there's markings on the beach that show that a turtle has emerged from the water and produced a nest, then it is checked. It is confirmed whether the nest has actually happened, and immediately it is physically cordoned off to ensure that there is no trampling on the nest. After that, ERA issues what's called an emergency conservation order, which is essentially a set of regulations designed to regulate human activity in such a way that it is not detrimental to the nest. There are various examples of human activities that may be detrimental. For example, emission of excessive noise or vibrations, camping, placing your umbrella near the nest, whereby it would result in shadows being cast on the nest. Also the damage, the disturbance caused by excessive light. If you've got, for example, a barbecue going on and you've got excessive light and there's a hatching occurrence, the hatchlings would, instead of going towards the sea, they would go towards the lights, and they will disperse in such a way that they might even get lost.
Which species are we encountering, and are the nesting turtles being monitored and tracked?
In Malta, we have two, actually one regularly occurring species. There are records of other species like the green turtle and the leatherback turtle, but the only species that is nesting in Malta at the moment is the loggerhead turtle.
And what is the status of the nest? Are they all viable or have some failed?
So we would know once the hatching has occurred, then the nest is dug up and the eggs are checked whether they have successfully hatched or whether there was some sort of development but it stopped or whether the eggs weren't even fertilized. But that data would be available once each and every nest is studied after hatching.
When can we expect the turtle eggs to hatch, and what is their survival rate?
Dependent on the nesting occurrences that we have, we're going to at least have another 3 weeks of hatching.
And how do the nesting patterns of turtles in Malta compare to those in other Mediterranean countries?
Okay, so in Malta, we've witnessed an increase in turtle nests. Actually, this year was a record. We have 8 nests in Malta at the moment. It is similar to what is happening also in the Western Mediterranean, countries that have also witnessed an increase in turtle nesting.
What is the survival rate in adulthood turtles?
Usually, turtles lay from anywhere between 60 to 100 eggs. The hatching rate is of about 75%, but the survival rate until adulthood is only up to 6%.
And what's the total number of eggs that is usually found in a turtle nest?
In Malta, it's about anywhere between 60 to 100 eggs, which is comparable to what happens in other countries in the Mediterranean.
And what would the hatching rate look like?
The hatching rate, the average hatching rate that we know from our statistics is about 75%, which is also quite normal.